is dealing strictly with our academic side of parent engagement. The workshop that will be presented tonight should answer all of your questions. There should be no stone unturned. It is a small group, so you can feel free to ask questions. Students, this is a participatory workshop. That means you participate, okay? If you have questions, now is the time to ask those questions. Our goal is for every student at Stone Mountain High School to be successful, that they have a successful academic year, and we are here to give you the tools, parents, to use so that you can do your part to help them toward that end, okay? My name is Annetta Richardson. I look forward to seeing you again. I am your friendly Region 3 Family Engagement Facilitator. As a Region 3 facilitator, I work with all the schools that feed into Clarkston, Stone Mountain, Reed Ann, and Stevenson High School. So this is what we do. I thank Dr. Cox and Dr. Jones, Mrs. Spence, who I met this summer at a workshop, and we came together and we're making this happen because we care about your children. They're our children. They're DeKalb County children. And we know that anytime we see DeKalb on the news, it's something negative. But we want to tell them the story about what we do good in DeKalb, because we have good kids. Your children are here with you, and we thank you. And now I introduce to some of you and present to others Dr. Shawana Cox, the head counselor here at Stone Mountain High School. Dr. Cox, you're on.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. Thank you all for coming out. We really appreciate you all parents. Now, I know you all have the agenda and it says 6 to 7:30. We won't be here that long unless you want to be, I can tell you that. But before I get started, we're going to go really quickly. I do have one person, I apologize, I forgot to put it on the agenda, but I'm going to let her come up and tell you about her, and she's going to ask you for your assistance. Her name is Mrs. Kakalacia. She's a colleague of mine. She's also an educator in DeKalb, and she's going to come forward for a minute and let you all know what she's asking of some of you as parents.
I'm an educator, so I can talk right here to let them know if that's the problem. We're good? Okay. Hello. I am a dissertation student at Harvey University, and the topic for my dissertation is the perception of African American students on the transition from middle school to high school. And what I like to do is get some of Stone Mountain students to contribute to my dissertation. I like the opinion of the 10th grade students. They will be talking about their 9th grade experience. The interview will be from 45 to 60 minutes. I will not put their names on my dissertation. I'll just put their point of view, and I will keep the information for 3 years and then destroy it. So if you have any questions concerning that, please contact me again. I'm Mrs. Kakalacia. I'll be here until the meeting is over, even if it's 7:30, to wait for you 10th grade parents. Do you have any questions now? Okay, thank you.
Okay, and now what we said we were going to do was have Georgia Piedmont talk about the Move On When Ready program. I don't see them here, so I'll go over that in a little bit, but I'll turn it over to Ms. Spence, Mrs. Spence, and she'll talk to you about the school-wide initiatives for student improvement achievement.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. How is everyone doing? Okay, thank you so much for coming. We are so happy to have you. We just want to, first of all, let you know how very important it is for you to be involved in your child's education. Research shows that if you are involved, your child will do better in school. Their academics will improve, their attendance will improve, and their behavior will improve. When your child knows that you're keeping up with them, you're making sure that their homework is done, you're making sure that they're doing everything that they need to do in class, they will do better in school. And so our goal is to make sure that our students are successful. If our students are successful, then you are having success. We as a school, we're also experiencing success. And I believe that's what everyone wants. Am I correct? We all want our children to be successful. So whatever you can do to help your child, we're asking you, we're begging you, please help them. So there are several things we're doing here at the school. One, we are having what is called a reading initiative. And this is called DEAR, D-E-A-R. Drop everything and read. So for the last 15 minutes of class every day, every child should be reading a book. It doesn't matter what the book is, it does not matter what they're reading about, as long as it's a book in school. Now, what we want to encourage you to do when they come home, you encourage them to read. We have books here in the media center. Each teacher has books in their room. They can check these books out, bring them home. Make sure that each child is reading every night, even if it's 10 minutes. But I would encourage you to put aside at least 30 minutes per night, turn the TV off and say, it's time to read. Get your book, sit down and read. Give me the cell phone, put your phone away. When a child reads and reads consistently, their grades will improve. So that's one of the initiatives we're working on. Another initiative is writing across the curriculum. So we're asking all our students to write. Every day they get writing topics in their class, whether it's in their math class, language arts, science, social studies. They are writing. So we're really pushing for our students to be better readers and better writers. If they are improving in these two areas, then their grades will improve. Because with the Georgia milestone, they have to do a lot of reading. And so if they continue to read and write, then this will help them on their assessments, on their exams. So basically, that's what we're asking our parents. And we're targeting 9th and 10th graders because we know that these are the two grade levels where we have the most challenges. We want them to be adjusted well in the 9th grade. We want them to be passing all their classes. Basically, we want them to be successful. I know as parents, most of you are busy, you're working, but please, we're asking you, take a couple of minutes every day, make sure these children are doing what they need to be doing. And if you do that every day, we the teachers here, we're doing everything we can, but we need your support. Please, please support us. Do I have everyone committed to supporting us, supporting your child, supporting? We all want to have good test grades. We want to make sure that come the end of 4 years, what's the goal? Graduation. So they have to be reading and writing. They have to be passing all their classes so we all get to that goal. So you see them walk across that stage, you know that, okay, you have done your part, you have done everything you could to help them. Yes, question?
How do we, new parents, new here to school, as far as volunteering, is that something to sign up for?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about
Yeah,
that.
that's an excellent question. We'll talk about that. Okay, any other questions? Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, if you look at the agenda, well, let me say what I look at this as, okay? And I was thinking about how can I get parents, and I feel like I'm preaching to the choir because you're obviously concerned about your child's education and you're probably those people who are gonna come anyway. But I'm asking you to think about, your child's friend and those parents who may not always come. Ms. Spence and I were talking earlier, and we were talking about how to get parents engaged, and I thought about this analogy. It's kind of like helping your child is kind of like taking them to the barbershop. This is the best, I think this is kind of what we can relate to, especially men. You take your child to the barbershop, and I have 2 sons with that pretty hair sticking all over everywhere too. But you take them to the barbershop and you say, you know what, do something with it. This is the best I have. This is my child. This is what has become of his hair, okay? Do something with it. They've been cutting their own hair. They've not been doing a good job. Hairline way back here or whatever. So the barber says, okay, in his head he's saying, okay, I'm gonna fix it up. Then he cuts the hair and you're like, oh, he looks good. I like that. And the barber says, okay, but this is what you have to do. You have to come back to me. You can't go from barber to barber to barber or whatever, and you have to do, you have bumps or whatever. My husband is a barber, that's what made me think about this. You have bumps, you have this, your hairline is way back here or whatever. If you go from place to place, you don't follow my directions, you will not get results, okay? I don't need you to be the barber. I'm the barber. I just need you to do your part, show up and do your part. That's kind of how school is, because this is my 22nd year in education. I was a classroom teacher for 11 years, and I've been a guidance counselor, this is my 10th year. 10th or 11th, I get them confused, something like that. And I always talk to people, when I say I do that, they would say, oh, I couldn't do it. And I say, you shouldn't. If you don't absolutely love children, you don't love teenagers, don't do it, because you cannot handle it, because they're going to be teenagers. But since I'm the expert, I'm just saying to you parents, all I need you to do is these simple things that I'm asking you to do. Bring them to school, check on them. There's Infinite Campus, there's all of this stuff we're going to talk to you about, and just follow my examples. I'm not asking you to teach them math. I'm not asking you to teach them science. I'm just asking you to check on them and do what I'm asking you to do, and we'll get results. Now, depending on the effort your child puts in and you put in, whatever, we're not going to all have the same results, because we know we didn't all have the same results in school, but we got results, and that's what it's about. It really is proven. If you do, you follow the prescription, it can't help but work. And I will promise you this, you're not going to have every experience that's going to be wonderful with every teacher. But those are also learning experiences for your children. I'm not saying your child has to fail a class, but I'm saying personalities clash, and honestly, as a counselor, I tell them that. There's no way I can go around changing schedules all day because people don't like the teacher. I use that as a teachable moment, and I'll say this is a business relationship. You don't have to invite them to your parties, don't friend them on Facebook, don't kick them, don't do any of that stuff you do on social media. This is business for this semester. After that, that's over. So this is the stuff we're going to talk about. And I gave you these questions or these sheets, and I will stop for questions, but I'm going to try to basically go through this stuff. I thought about what is it that you really, really want to know at the end of the day. And if I miss something, let me know. Okay, and in our counseling department, this is how we're divided. It's 3 of us. We have, for the 9th grade, we split the children. I have A through C. Mr. Williams has D through M. Ms. Pinson has N through Z. Also, when they get to 10th, once they get to 10th grade, they keep the same counselor until they graduate. So right now, I have 11th grade. My students will be graduating in 2017. Ms. Pinson is the senior counselor. If your children are, if your children are 9th grade this year, Ms. Pinson will be their counselor next year, and she'll be their counselor until they graduate. Does that make sense? So right now, whatever they're in as a freshman, or whoever they have as a freshman, they may change depending on who it is. But most of them, I won't be their counselor because I'm the senior counselor, but I always keep A through C as freshmen. So I think that makes sense to you, but if it doesn't, I can explain it later. Move On When Ready. Let me say a little bit about this, and I won't spend a lot of time, but Move On When Ready is the old dual enrollment program. We're really excited about that because your students are able to earn college and high school credits at the same time. Currently at Stone Mountain, we actually have 2 classes. This was our first time doing it. Now, the person from Georgia Piedmont is going to come and talk to you all about it, not because that's the only school that's available, but Georgia Piedmont approached us regarding a partnership, and they actually send their professors and they teach the classes for us. So right now we have an Intro to College Algebra and an Intro to College English class that the students are taking, 11th and 12th grade students. Next semester they'll be taking other classes. They do get college credit for this. At the same time, they get AP credit for this. So if a student, for example, would have gotten an A in a class, a regular A would be like a 4.0 if they had an A. A dual enrollment or a Move On When Ready APA is a 5-point scale. That's a 5.0. To make sure we give your children access, we did this last year and we're doing it again this year. There are requirements, but your students will tell you, we talk about it every single day on the announcements, every single day. And by the way, this is going to be on YouTube. So you'll be able to see all of this stuff or whatever. Again, we talk about it every day. What the students will get on October 5th and the 6th, we're going to be testing the rising 11th graders and the rising 12th grade students. They'll get a pass from me, you'll get a letter, you should get a letter saying, congratulations, your child's GPA is at least a 2.5, because they have to have like a 2.5 for Georgia Piedmont. Let me make that clear, because they teach the classes here. But your child may decide, I want to go to Georgia Tech. They have to go out on their own, find out the requirements for Georgia Tech, take the SAT, ACT, but the state of Georgia will pay for that. You just have to be in contact with me. I am the Move On When Ready contact person for the school. So you have to be in contact with me however that goes. And we have right now, our children are doing very, very well. Those professors are in touch with us. Our children are excited about it. I know our students saw them going around with their t-shirts that say, ask me how I do it, and because we wanted to promote that. So those students will be tested. Once they're tested, we'll let you know what their results are so that they can start. Another nice thing about Move On When Ready is also that students can take classes now at more than one college at the same time. And they can also take classes in the summer. This is new stuff that happened over the summer, so that's why it's really important that you all are here, because you'll be getting those emails from me, you'll be getting those phone calls from us, so that I'll say, the students, did your student tell you about this? Did the student tell you about this? So if they're not, you can call us to find out what's going on. But that Move On When Ready, if the students do it correctly, they can actually end up with an associate's degree by the time they graduate from high school. I know it's true because we had one last year, and that was just one. But they should not have told Dr. Cox that we can do this, because they will tell you. I will definitely get behind it. And we also, the state of Georgia is telling us that there's a transportation grant too. Because a lot of times in the summer, parents are saying, I don't have anything to do. Send them to school. Let them go to college. You know, go ahead on to college, take some classes. So we'll be working with them with that. So make sure you stay on them with that. If they have not gotten a pass, or they have not said they got a letter from Dr. Cox by next week, then you need to call me or email me. But that's when I'm going to give them out. You don't want to give it out too soon to high school students, because they're gonna lose it, just because, you know, you're going to. So, any questions about Move On When Ready? Yes. No, I'm sorry, thank you. It doesn't, now it's 9th through 12th grade. Here at Stone Mountain High School, we're only offering it right now to 11th and 12th because of scheduling purposes. But if your child wants to go off to another school, like we have some students who are taking it at other colleges as well. But we also, most of our students right now are taking it here. More so for convenience purposes, because parents work, they can't go back and forth to work. But with this transportation grant, I think what it's going to look like is probably motor cars for the children, because I don't see any one set of children going to one school on a bus. But you definitely want to be talking to me about that. And I know that came late too. The only reason we didn't know about it really was because it came out like August. So that's when we found out. And we already had our classes in place.
So for the initiative for 9th, 10th grade will be tested as well?
The rising 10th graders will probably be tested in the spring. However, if you want your child to be tested now, what you should probably do is email me, and then we can test them as well, because it is offered for 9th through 12th grade, because it's Move On When You're Ready. It's not when, you know, I think they should. It's just that in a school setting, most students are not going to do it. But if your child is able to go out there and do it, then by all means do it. Definitely.
Is this something that's paid out of pocket doing?
Oh, no, this is totally free. This is from the state of Georgia, because people like to play the lottery. And keep on playing. Keep on playing. Just keep on playing.
What is the email?
It's on this page. It's on the page. And I'll go over that too. Yeah. Okay, but it is totally free. The books and everything. But again, that's why they have a contact person, so that the child won't just go in there. And the reason there's a contact person at the school is so that I can make sure that they're taking what they need in addition to. Like our children, and I'll move on from this. Our children who are taking these first 4 classes, I already know that some of them are going to knock out their science and social studies classes in the summertime, because I think they can take up to 5 hours. So that's what they're going to be doing, which is 15. You know, if you've gone to college, you know 5 classes, that's 15 hours. That's pretty good. That's half a semester, a freshman year. Okay. This sheet I have in your packet, I knew it wasn't gonna come out looking well, looking too good, but it's the paper that says DeKalb County School System, and it has general education on it. I wanted you to see, and I know this may look familiar to you from the middle school, and I'm not gonna go over all of it, but basically to remind you that we don't just randomly put children in classes. That's not what we do. DeKalb has what we call the DeKalb Program of Study Selection Advisement Form. And what it does is it outlines all of the classes that your children need for graduation. So if you look at it, it says that the students need English, math, science, social studies, etc. And it tells you how many credits of each altogether. It tells you you need 4 units of English, math, etc. Does everybody see where I am?
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing. We're making sure they have that. And it also tells you on that paper, if you look in that shaded area, it tells you that the children have 3 different choices for their diploma seal. Actually there are 4. There's the one for the students with disabilities, and of course if your child has an IEP or whatever, they may be on a special education diploma. The next one is the college prep diploma, which is the basic diploma that people have. Most people have, and it basically says your students are going to get on-level classes. They may take accelerated, they may take AP, but once they pass all of these classes, they can attend a 4-year school in Georgia if they qualify. Okay. The second one is a career technical diploma. That one also, the student needs 24 electives. The main difference between the career technical diploma and the college prep is that there is 1 year, for the career technical diploma, you only need 1 year foreign language. And I like to emphasize to the students, in most cases, most of the students are going to have a college prep diploma anyway, because it does not make sense for you to not take a 2nd year of a foreign language and not be able to go to a 4-year university if you qualify. You know what I mean? Like, even if they decide, I don't want to start at a 4-year school, it's better to be able to have the classes you need to go and do it and change your mind than to want to do it after you've graduated and realize, I don't have all the classes. So, and also for the honors with distinction diploma, those students need the same classes except they need 3 years of a foreign language, and their grade point average has to be a 3.5 or higher by the time they graduate, their core GPA. Now on the back of that form, you have that and what we do is, and the students will tell you, well, if they're 10th grade, they did this last year, but they will do this soon. They'll be meeting with the counselors. You'll get a note from the counselor saying, we've met with your child about this. We need you to sign these papers. But also, if you're interested in an individual conference, please contact your child's counselor. In the 9th and the 10th grade, we do group conferences mostly. And the 11th and the 12th, they're all individual. So what will happen is we'll meet with your child and we'll look at their transcript. We give that to them and we let them see, okay, you've taken Lit 9, you're currently in it, blah, blah, blah. For example, if they're in 9th grade right now, next year they'll take like World Lit, Geometry, Physical Science, World History, maybe the 2nd year PE, Foreign Language, and then they have electives to choose from that I'll talk to you about. Of course, you as the parent can say, I want them to take Accelerated. We know if they're gifted, that's in the computer, that kind of thing. So you have choices, okay? And you'll get this, and we give a triplicate form. And you get to sign that, and if you still don't understand or whatever, then of course we ask that you schedule the conference with one of us. But this year we're doing it much quicker because the scheduling is being done quicker at the county. And this is how, of course, they determine teachers and all that kind of stuff, but that's behind the scene. Any questions about this form or the one I just went over? Okay. As far as electives are concerned, we have a host of things for the students, and of course students, if you looked at those 2 papers, the students do need a certain number of electives to graduate also, and I tell that to students when they're saying, I don't need PE. You definitely need PE personal fitness, you definitely need a 2nd year PE, and you also have to have, you have to complete a pathway. And we have several that I'll go over with you. You have to complete a pathway, and of course you have to I think I said foreign language, 2 years of the same foreign language. Now, in terms of the pathway completion, DeKalb has lots of options. The students can do them here in the building. We have engineering, we have marketing, we have, now we have, it's new, it's fashion design, we have family consumer science, with early childhood, we have ROTC, we have band, we have chorus. And I think I'm missing something with web design and maybe a few others. And if they decide, well, I don't want to just do that, I want to go outside of the building, how many of you all are familiar with OEC, or DeKalb High School of Technology North and South? That's where the student stays with us half the day, and then they go to another school if they choose. So on this paper that you have, and of course that's totally free, that's provided by DeKalb as well. There are several different programs. They may decide they want to do automotive, barbering, cosmetology, broadcast video, engineering, a different kind of engineer. They can do engineering here and then do a different level of engineering over there. Healthcare, dental assistance, law and justice, teaching. And the nice thing about our location here in Stone Mountain, we just learned last year that we're centrally located. So our children have more of a choice. Some of our children go to DeKalb High School of Technology North, which is located at Cross Keys, but others go to DeKalb High School of Technology South. There's no preference for me or anybody else. It just depends on what the children want. And I think that that's good because it kind of gives the schools the idea that, you know, the students have a preference, they have a choice, so we need to make sure that we're giving them what they need and have a lot to offer. And our children who've gone to South this year, they've been having a wonderful experience, and North as well. Now, in some cases, North may have a few programs that South doesn't have, and vice versa. Like I know North has dental, South does not. And South has barbering and more automotive classes, as well as maybe teaching. And North does not. But we talk about that. We talk about all of that. Question about that? Oh, go ahead.
Is that for ninth graders, 9th through 12th graders?
It's 10, that's for RISE, is for 10 through 12 graders. The only thing stipulation about 10th graders is we have to look at it on a case-by-case basis to see how old they are because, for example, 10th graders can't do certain things with cars or whatever, so it depends on what they want to do. But there is a lot, and the children really get into it, and they get certified. You know, there's all kinds of stuff. They can come out with actual jobs. You had a question?
Yes, ma'am. If they're here for half the day and go over there half the day, is transportation?
Right, transportation brings them back and forth. Back and forth, they get lunch, they leave class. The way we schedule it is, we usually schedule it so that it's not a major, all classes are major, but a class that's less likely to cause them any dissonance if they're left out a few minutes early and they go over and they're back before the bus, they're still in extracurricular activities. I mean, half of our kids in any class are going, and it's wonderful. Once they do it, they just act so grown up. They feel like, I just wish you all could see our nurses and our dentists during the day because they look so professional, you know, and our cosmetologists. The cosmetologists were telling me the other day that they're being inducted into the Nail Tech Honor Society. I didn't know that there was such a thing, but they are. And so they feel good. They actually leave school with skills. You know, we're saying these children need skills. So, and not only that, if your child is on track, which I'm sure your children will be, they can do more than one career pathway because our children tend to be on track over here. So they may go 1 year and do law and justice, and the next year they may do engineering. So they get to explore a whole lot while they're here. Any other questions about that?
So if they decide to do that, just one career path, and they do that year after year, but at an elevated level.
I don't think that, the only one that I know of that they offer at an elevated level would be engineering. Like if they did engineering here, they may do one type of engineering, and then they may go to OEC and do another type. But I don't think that they can, yeah. But on the other hand though, that doesn't stop them from, depending on what the child has taken, they may be able to couple that with classes that they take at the college. It just depends on what they've been taking. And I'm going to switch gears a little bit, Ms. Axel. I didn't know you were coming, so I actually went ahead and talked about Move On When Ready. So if you want to, you know, I know you have another meeting to do also. So I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Axel from Georgia Piedmont, and she's going to talk to you all for a few moments.
Hi, my name's Victoria Axum. I'm from Georgia Piedmont Technical College, and I am a member of the Move On with Red team. The advantages that you have, in the past, and I'm sure Dr. Cox talked about it, in the past it was dual enrollment. But now, and dual enrollment had several different areas. Now it's all combined under Move On with Red. And so, I'm just going to go over a few advantages you have, the changes that are all in your good side, okay? Now you can start in 9th grade before you could not start in 9th grade. And in the past, you had to pay for books. Well, you don't have to pay for books. You don't have to pay for the instruction. You don't have to pay for course materials. You don't have to pay any tuition. Everything is free for you. So that means that your students can take a college level class that adds to their high school diploma and towards college. One class, it hits 2 areas. And that's great for you. Of course, it does mean that you have to have a certain amount of maturity, and they have to want to do that. And the other thing is that you can take technical classes, and that's the wonderful thing that Dr. Cox has been already talking about, is that you have choices. Your students have choices, and when students are involved in what it is that they're going to do or what they want to do, and they see that that translates into a job, which translates into money, which translates into them being independent, they're in, okay? They can do a pathway. They can get a sample of something. They can say, oh, I really like that, or I never want to go over there again, okay? But this is the time when they can do that, and they can make those choices. And it gives them a real insight instead of, when I went to college, you left high school, you went to college, you went to liberal arts, you took a class. If that didn't work for you, oh well, okay. Now you have choices, and you can sample different areas, and it's free. And that's the best part. It's free for you as long as they're in high school. In the past, they could not. They can take classes here, they can take classes over at Georgia Piedmont, and they can also take classes on Saturday, and they can take classes during the summer. So they have a wide variety of choices that they can choose that helps them with their career path. And if they're really motivated, you can take class from more than one institution. So they can take it over at, what was that, the other technical school? Perimeter. They can take it over there. They can take another class with us. It doesn't matter, and it's always free. That's a plus for you, okay? Because when you think about it, if they took some technical classes and they got certified, and at the same time they took academic classes, you're getting a freebie and you're getting 2 hits. And this is the way. Your classes towards college are free. The classes towards them that turn into a job are free. If you went to Kennesaw State, tuition there is right around $12,000. If you had 30 hours to transfer, because if you start, you can get those hours to transfer, that would knock a whole year off of college.
Wow.
Okay, so now the government just saved you $12,000. If they were certified in a technical area and they got a job, now they're making money. So now you're getting paid twice. So, any other questions? It's free. You have a wonderful counselor in Dr. Cox, and she can give you all the information in the world. And if you have any questions, I'm Mrs. Axum, and I'm over at Georgia Piedmont. And you can get to me any kind of way, and you can ask Dr. Cox, and Dr. Cox can get there. And
And I did want to emphasize again, as Ms. Axton said, it's not just that they have to go to Georgia Piedmont, but they did approach us with a partnership. But someone asked me, but do these classes transfer? They do, because Georgia Piedmont is a part of the University System of Georgia, which means when you're a part of the University System of Georgia, your classes transfer to your four-year university inside and outside of Georgia. So it's not just a Georgia thing. This is a college, and the nice thing about the children taking the class on campus, for me as a mother, I would want somebody to do this for me. I go to the classes just about every day to kind of peek in on them, and I keep in contact with the professors, and they talk to us a lot as well. They are very active about it, and we really, really like that. Our children are really enjoying college, because we talk to them every day, and I'll say, how do you feel about being in college? And they'll say, it's starting to hit me. I'm in college. I'm like, you're in college, and they invite them to be a part of the college student government. They have their college ID, they have college email, they can go over there and do college events. So it's a big deal. That's for our children. And when, just like you have these expressions on your face, I really need you to tell your neighbor, have you really been to the school? I know it's been a minute, but there are new things. These people are really trying to get our children out there. There's no reason, as I say, because my son is going to take advantage of this. He's a 9th grader. He has to do it. He doesn't have a choice. I know he's doing it in the summer. I already know. I already know. So the thing is, we don't have to say, what are you doing for these children? It's here. It's here. So just tell them and, try us and see it. I mean, it's a busying activity for us, but we want to do, this is a good work. We're busy anyway as educators. Let's make sure our children are getting this, and then they can have a job by the time they finish. And it's all free.
Do y'all have any businesses outside that do internships?
We do it, and thank you. You made me go back to this. Going back to the CTAE part, the other part of them completing a pathway is work-based learning, where they actually go out. We have a work-based learning. Most of the children when they get a work-based learning, they have a job. If they don't have jobs, our coordinator, Dr. Mills, she does work with them to get internships, things like that. This year, we're doing some in the school, some unofficial ones, but they do work with them to try to do that as well. A lot of them are unpaid. Most of them are unpaid, but yes. Thank you, Ms. Agnew.
Thank you for that.
And I did put a Move On When Ready sheet in there to kind of explain more to you, but you probably want, if you really, really want to sit down and have an in-depth conversation, come and, see me or call me, email me about it, and we can set that up.
So does this go around in theory allow?
It could. It could, in theory, allow the students to graduate earlier, but what would happen is the student, of course, it could, in theory. It's just that there are a lot of college prerequisites, and so when you're talking about going through college quickly, you have a lot of prerequisites before, like our children right now, for example, they're taking introduction classes. So and they're getting AP credit for those classes as well, but you have to do a lot of intro because they're high school students. But in theory, yeah, they can. Not just in theory, in practice, actually, I can say that, in practice. But that's more on a case-by-case basis. Any other questions about that? Okay, and I'm not going to go into this too much, but I think we all know what a credit is and things like that. But in order for your students to go ahead and pass to the next grade, at the end of the school year, in order for a student to be considered a 10th grader, they must have 6 credits. That must be at least 6, 3 core, 3 electives. If they've passed everything, they'll have 8. Once they pass if they're passing everything, they're moving on. And to be an 11th grader, they need to have 12. To be a 12th grader, they need to have 18. And to graduate, they have to have 4. Now, when we talk about core and electives, core classes are math, science, English, social studies, and foreign language. Math, science, English, social studies, and foreign language. So when we're saying 3 core, 6 core, 9 core, it must be in those areas. Elective is everything else. The work-based learning, the classes they take at OEC, the dual enrollment classes, depending on what they're taking, may be core or elective. Right now they're core because our kids are taking math and English. And this is how we divided it so you could know English, of course, math, science, same thing. And by the way, we actually have students who are doing both. We have students who are in the Move On When Ready classes, and they also go to like cosmetology. One girl I'm thinking of offhand who was telling me she's in the Nail Society, Honor Society. She takes the classes in the morning and she goes to OEC South for cosmetology in the afternoon. And these are the names of the classes. Some of this is on your program of study sheet, or on that other page, so I won't go into this too much. And I talked about this already. Now, when we meet with your students, this is an advisement sheet that you will get, that's not in your packet, but basically we go over all of this stuff with them, so that's why it's important for you to talk to them. We actually discussed, they know what their GPA is, they know how many credits they have, what they need, what their diploma type is. We discussed EOCs in the course exams. And by the way, now, know that your students, when they take their in the course exams, and I can tell you the names of those when I finish saying this, when they take those exams are now 20% of their total grades. You all know that, right, students? Yeah, you know, the teacher said it. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna say it again. 20% of your total grade. So that's 9th grade lit, biology. The second semester when they take the math, those are the 9th grade classes, biology, lit 9, and math. In the 10th grade is physical science and geometry. In the 11th grade is American literature and U.S. history. And in the 12th grade is economics. I think that's all of it, okay? As far as that's concerned. But we talked to them about online classes, if they've messed up or something. Like DeKalb Online Academy, we talked to them about Elizabeth Andrews to help them get back on track if they need that. Summer school, if that's needed, credit recovery. We talked to them about ACT, SAT, college application waivers, free SAT waivers. We talk about what you're going to do after high school. Those students will be meeting with this year. If they're not familiar with GA College 411, which they should have had in the middle school, but they will have an account because that's where they go to find out what their HOPE GPA is. And sidebar, I didn't put this on here. Every student in Georgia, once they enter the first semester, once they've completed the first semester of 9th grade, they start accumulating a HOPE grade point average. When you have, at every semester, someone at the county level uploads the grades so they can go on there and see whether or not they qualify for HOPE at this point. So in the conference, they'll say, Dr. Cox, do I qualify for HOPE? I'll say, go and look at your GPA. If the GPA says you qualify, then you qualify, because I can't, as a counselor, say, yes, you do, no, you don't. Because the HOPE GPA may look a little bit different than it does in DeKalb County. So there's no time you should not know it, but it's once a semester and it's done by someone out for DeKalb. So, but if you have questions about that, you can contact me too, because I'm the HOPE, not the HOPE, the GA College 411 password resetting person, because teenagers are going to forget it. So we do that also. And also Social Security information. I know a lot of times parents, it is your choice. You don't have to let your child's Social Security number be on file, but just know if it's not on file, they will never, ever, ever, ever qualify for HOPE. And that ties up so many people at the end of their senior year, because the student will have a 4.578. And they'll say, Dr. Cox, what's up with my HOPE money? And I'll say, remember in a conference, you had the waiver, your parent didn't want it there, and you have to have a Social Security number on file for the government to give you government money, even if it is coming from a lottery, you know, or however that goes.
Is that protected by the school?
Is that what?
Yeah, your Social Security number on file.
On the Georgia College 411? Nobody goes on there. I can see it as a background administrator because I'm entering stuff in. But I'm a fingerprinted trusted servant. You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't be sitting around talking your daughter's Social Security number with anybody. But they'll never get HOPE if it's not. They won't get financial aid, period, without that. That's just a given. So, and some parents like to wait until the senior year and put it on there. That's fine. I'm just saying, just make sure you do it before they graduate, because otherwise they'll be calling back and we'll get it done. And I'll say to them, yeah, we'll get it done, it's going to happen, but they don't know that. I'm saying that I've graduated from college like 20 years ago, so over 20 years, so they just say, yeah, you're just thinking it. But I do this every year, and they're freaking out in financial aid, saying, they're going to put me out. And I'm like, they're not going to put you out, they want that money. They know that money is coming. But they don't feel that, so they have that anxiety that they don't need to have if they do this on the front end. And also we check with them to make sure their name is spelled correctly and uniquely, and
with the asterisks. You know, my mom thought I was pretty special. She named me Shawana. It wasn't very popular at the time. It was an important kind of name. So I wanted it spelled correctly. So, you know, we go over that kind of thing. And also we talk to them, make sure they have a College Board account, which is the website that they have to register with to take the SAT and get free SAT prep, as well as ACT. We talk to them about FAFSA scholarships. And right now, the most important thing for the 9th and the 10th graders in terms of testing, aside from Move On When Ready, would be the PSAT. Have you all been getting the calling? Well, you did get the calling post, I'm sure, but on October the 14th, our freshmen, well, all of the sophomores will test for free because the state of Georgia does pay for them to test for free. The 9th and 10th graders who want to take the test, they would have to pay $15, and they pay that to Dr. Opak. He said he'd take the money up until the day of the test because he really wants the children to qualify, if they can. Now, PSAT is pre-SAT. And if they take that test, what it does is it puts them in a national database, and that can help them to qualify for scholarships. And another really cool thing about PSAT now is that PSAT, are you all familiar with Khan Academy, Khan Academy? Khan Academy is providing free SAT help assistance courses and stuff for students now when they take that PSAT. So we had a PSAT finalist year before last, and I mean like almost every day someone was calling him from California or whatever, just hunting him down with money, you know. So if they take the PSAT as a freshman, which I really advise, it lets you know where they are. And that Khan Academy thing, it tells you your child needs help with this, this, and this. I mean, it's really structured, it's cool, because my son is doing it too. And it really, really helps them out to tell you what it is they need to do so that they can have those scores by the 11th grade, so that when it's time for them to be entered in and they see, okay, they're really serious and they're going to be, you know, doing a lot in their senior year, they'll offer them money for college all over the nation. Any questions about this sheet? And I put on here, of course, student advisement. I mentioned it earlier. Student advisement will take place for 9th and 10th graders beginning October, going all the way through November. We have a group component where we'll show them a PowerPoint to go over everything that we talked to you all about a few minutes ago. But again, we'll call them out individually to talk to you and you and you and you, because that's personal. We don't want everybody knowing what you're doing, but they definitely know it, and they'll get the letter, and the letter will say, if you want an individual conference, call us, but if not, just sign saying that you got the information. That way, they may decide, because students are notorious for this, and that's why I know sometimes the counselors get a little perturbed with me with this, but students will come in and say, especially our children, I don't want to do AP. I'm not gifted. You've been gifted since pre-K. You are not getting out of AP. It's hard. It's supposed to be hard. It's accelerated. You're accelerated. If you've been smart, you're going to be smart. My mom said, okay, so call your mom on the phone. Mom had no idea. So that's why, you know, regular schedule changes a lot. Yeah, okay, but AP, no, I'm not changing you out. Your mom has to actually write a note, you know, letting me know, and we have to call them. And they'll tell you that, you know, I roll, all that kind of stuff. But it's serious. They can do it. They can do it. And like my Move On When Ready students, they don't even bother because they know they can't come out. There's too much support. There's no reason for you to not do it. And that was it for me. And I think, any questions for me? Okay. That's a great thing. That's a great thing.
Question is for students from Mount High, are the homework assignments online? I mean, how do you work? Because I have students right here. So you don't have no homework. So I'm like, I can't believe that.
You can't believe that, Mom, because he does have homework. And if he's telling you he doesn't have, and that's where your counselor comes in. If your child will say, like my child, well, you know, my children don't do that anymore because they know I'm going to give them some. So if they're telling you, I don't have homework, I did it in the class. If you have doubt, please call me, email me, and I'm going to call the teacher or go to the teacher and say, did Shawana have homework? Did she do what she needed to do?
And they're gonna say, oh, no, ma'am. And plus, also parents, if you do not have an Infinite Campus account, please make sure you call me. You can get one, we can set you up on a computer, you can see their grades, you can see attendance, you can do conferences, all of that. And as soon as, I didn't know, you know, because, and that's you get this app that I have on my phone because I'm in Clayton County. And what I do is, you get these nice little alarms on it, and I would say to my son, who graduated in my other one, anything you want to tell me? And they know already. You know I know. You know I know. Look, he put his head down. He knows you.
Are the assignments listed, like, to do that you can finish?
Yes, they are. Oh, we signed up. She can tell you.
They are, and under the to-do list, it shows you what assignments have been past due and how many days. That's all you gotta go. I go in there every day.
Are they posted every day or once a week? Some schools.
It depends, but if you notice that it's not, again, your counselor, because I'll go to the teacher, because the principal and assistant, I know the teachers are doing professional learning, and they talk to them about how often they're supposed to post, because we're telling the parents to go out there, so they need to be out there. But I can assure you, he has homework. He definitely has
I have the
homework.
app, and when I go in, it's just like, wow. It's so
The app gets crazy, but we can navigate that. We can help you reset it.
Okay. And, syllabus from the teachers, no
The
syllabus?
syllabus should be posted on the website. Every teacher has a teacher website. I'm working on mine, it's coming. But every teacher has a website, and it should have their syllabus and all of those kinds of things on it that tell you that. And if something is missing, let us know, because we'll get that too.
My last question, volunteer hours.
Volunteer for him?
No, just volunteer for the school.
No, we do have what we call a parent patrol. That was one of my other things on my list, where we actually, and of course, we have different things, and you come to the school, we have a parent patrol t-shirt for you, and we do encourage the parents to come and do that, to be out with us during lunch duty, to just kind of walk the hall, to see how wonderful our students are. Because we have great students. I'm not just saying that. We have great students. We do. And, it's something about parent presence that just makes a difference. It does. Again, we're not asking you to teach them, because I know most people can't handle teenagers, because you look at them and you say, oh, Lord, I can't deal with it. Please don't come. I don't want you anywhere near teaching children. I don't want, I don't want to say that. Some people, I really don't want them teaching children. I really don't, because you don't love it. I really love this. I tell them, if I ever start playing the lottery, I would do this once a week for free. Or send a